As a true Chalamet fan, I was locked in from the start.
Apparently, Daniel LaPatin was very into like the concept of like birth.
I guess in the way, like in the end, the winner is table tennis.
It's about ego and it's about selflessness and capitalism and post-war relations and things like that.
Just financial terms, I think the shark came out on top.
Anyone from Schwepp?
Schwepp! Put some orange
honestly,
on the screen. Schwepp! And welcome back to another episode of Pinoys versus the World. My name is Harald Hyllseth.
My name is Chris Angkico.
And Chris, we got to start off the new year right. We got to welcome in our two guests today. We got to start off, of course, with Chalamet fan 97, Devon Holze. Welcome to YouTube. Welcome back to the pod to talk about your boy today.
Thanks. Happy New Year's, guys. It's good to see you.
And back from a 7 to 10 day IL stint with his illness. Now on Letterboxd, always been on Letterboxd, but we're getting some good reviews from JJ Gara himself. Jared Garalde, Happy New Year to you, brother. Welcome to the pod.
Happy New Year. Thanks for shouting out the Letterboxd thing. It's good to be back, y'all. Good to be back. I missed y'all.
I miss you too. I miss y'all too. This is a great crew to get together to talk about, of course, the big movie we're chatting about today, Timothée Chalamet. He didn't direct it. Josh Safdie's big movie of this year. First one away from his brother, Marty Supreme. Obviously, it's been a big year for, if you're watching this, obviously, in 2026. We're recording this in 2026. This is a film that came out on Christmas Day. It was pretty much the last film I saw in 2025. But yeah, I just wanted to give a little bit of background on that. Marty Supreme, it's on a heater, y'all. Like this, I don't even know. Maybe we should just start off with this and go around a little bit. How did the Marty Supreme, just Timothée Chalamet ad after ad after ad, and kind of, just all the content blitz he was doing for about the last 3 months of 2025. Now that we're in 26 and we've had a couple weeks to think on it, how did that affect you and how much you wanted to see this movie?
They marketed the heck out of this movie. It was crazy. I mean, honestly, I'm not going to lie. I feel like the amount of marketing of this movie kind of wanted me to see it less. That might be a hot take, but I was getting kind of, I don't know, turned off by the amount of like, okay, like I thought it was cool when they were like kind of first ramping it up. And then I think it was Timothy on the SD Kid song was really where I started to be like, all right, like let's
Marty Supreme.
Yeah, exactly. But hey, I think I mean this has got to be like A24's like biggest push, maybe, right? I don't know.
Easily, it feels
rightfully so though.
Highest grossing Christmas Day movie or highest grossing A24 movie for the first couple of days? I digress. Devon.
Honestly, I feel the total opposite, Jared. I'm sorry, but as a true Chalamet fan, I was locked in from the start. And all I have to say is Schwepp. Anyone from Schwepp?
Schwepp. Put some orange on the screen. Schwepp.
When I saw him on top of the Sphere in Las Vegas, I feel like that was the moment where I was like, no, he's doing something. Like, he is doing something right now. I think orange might have been my least favorite color before this marketing campaign. Now I'm like, you know what? Orange is actually not that bad. It's kind of pretty. It's like a beautiful color.
Fair
orange
point.
Is popping.
I mean,
orange is a poppin' fall color. We talked about this on a previous pod, I think. Orange and brown,
And they got, speaking of fall, they got the Marty Supreme jackets and everything too. Like, that was genius. Honestly genius.
1,300 on StockX right now. I don't know. I might ask Jonas to throw up where we at on the margins on those Marty Supreme bomber jackets. If you didn't dream big enough like Susan Boyle, you weren't getting one. But shout out him for shouting out Susan Boyle. The real ones know. Kiko, I do have to ask you about the jackets though, because we were talking about Marty Supreme merch. I know that you're a slight purveyor and collector of certain items from your favorite movies. Like you got a couple fun shirts from Challengers. But that Marty Supreme jacket was probably impossible to get unless you were in LA and just up at the butt crack of dawn at like any good scalper would. The scalpers got there. The scalpers ate good.
Yeah, I know there was like lines in New Like months before the movie of like the merch drop for the sweatshirt. I mean, like
insane.
All of a sudden everyone's wearing it. Like Tom Brady, I saw like he like posted on his Instagram the Marty Supreme jacket. I was like, wow, like this
Ringo
is really
Starr?
just what?
No
Ringo
way.
Starr?
I think Ringo Starr got one.
That's wild.
I didn't see that.
I'd like to check on that
crazy.
one.
It's just crazy. It just goes to show like the level of hype that they were trying to make around this movie. It was crazy.
Well,
But honestly, I think it worked. I walked into that movie
100%.
theater. My boss was in there. I've never run into her in the wild. And my boss and I were in the same Marty Supreme screening.
No, seriously. Like, you talk to people who don't even really, they're not going to the movies very often, and then they're like, "Oh, is it that Chevrolet kid?"
that
Or
Timmy kid.
like exactly. And I'm like, honestly, whatever gets, and that's kind of where I'm at right now. Like, whatever gets people in the seats,
Hell
right?
yeah.
Like, that's awesome. Like, it's a win for movies. And yeah, I mean, it looks like everyone had fun with it, which is fun.
yeah. No, it's interesting about the marketing because I actually, thanks to one of my friends, shout out Haley, I actually got to see the movie a month early. The only piece of marketing I had seen was the Schwepp like Zoom meeting. And I was like, I don't know what this is about. I don't know why they did it, but I was like, okay, whatever. And then like 2 days later, I got a text from a friend who's like, oh, like I got a extra ticket for Marty Supreme. Like, you want to see it? I was like, oh, okay. And then, yeah, you go into the theater and it's just an orange screen. It just says like Marty Supreme, dream big. And I was like, I have no idea what's going on here. And so then you just sit down and watch the movie with like, the marketing blitz had really like not superstarred in earnest on Instagram. So I really kind of I didn't really have that reference, but I was like, okay, like what's this movie going to be about and all this stuff. And so initially, like, I was thinking like, okay, sports movie. I think we'll kind of get into it. It's not really as much of it is a sports movie, but it is kind of gets more into like the psyche of the guy. And I think that sort of threw me off. But then like you go into it, you're like, having now seen the movie and coming out on the other side and seeing all the marketing, I was like, okay, this is going to be interesting how people are going to like, how it like filters in and how people are going to like
love
respond
that,
to it.
though. What you were saying about, that didn't click with me until just now. Like, it is kind of marketed as like a sports movie, like the whole dream big thing. And
Oh yeah.
for some reason that didn't click with me. I don't know, but that's so interesting because
I
it
think-
kind of is like in a way, but it twists it on its head a little bit.
I think it's just sort of like, because I saw some comment on one of the Marty Supreme interviews. It's like, it's cool how Timothée Chalamet's personality is whatever the next movie he's in is. And
Totally.
it's like the whole marketing is based on like, oh, Marty Supreme is like the greatest thing to happen to society like ever, basically. That's kind of how it's sort of marketed. He's standing on top of the sphere, like you're saying. You're saying, Devon. And like that kind of is, as we'll go into sort of the theme of the movie, like he sees himself as this like the future, as like this like supreme being, is like, I'm the future of table tennis is the future, and like I'm the future of table tennis type of thing. So I feel like it kind of like leads in, like people are sort of getting annoyed like at Timmy's interviews, like I'm trying to be like the greatest or whatever. I think I'm doing like such a good job. But that's kind of like the character. Like once you get into the movie, that is the character. That's kind of what he embodies. And so I think they're just trying to like kind of tee people up for it right away. Obviously, maybe it turns some people off from it, but it seems like for the most part, it did its job.
It definitely did its job.
He is a man that wears many pants, different shirts when he has to.
And that's the thing. Like, is that really him? Like, I don't even know anymore.
I don't
is he just
know.
a really good method actor? Like,
Chalamet fan
The
97.
only person-
Do you know what
The
we
only
do not?
person who knows is Kylie Jenner at this
Yeah.
point. We just-
crazy.
She was saying.
Crazy.
She was saying, Skinny Boy Summer. It's crazy. I do
It's
have to
so
say,
great. Yeah, we were about to see him pop out in Dune and just like all black.
oh my God.
Like,
Mhm.
The worst colonizer the universe has ever seen.
I wonder if that's going to be his
I've seen a total
haircut
180.
for Dune. Is the shaved head? I have no
he
idea.
said
if
he
that's
shaved
gonna...
his head for Dune.
Oh, is it
Oh,
really?
Sure. I saw in interviews. So
Wow. Scary. Scary hours for our boy. Scary hours for us. I mean, shoot. I'll see y'all in 12 months for Dune Part 3.
Yeah, he's gonna Schwepp the known universe. That's what he's doing. Yeah,
I have to shout out though, because this man, it's not even just that Timmy just showed out. I mean, we all saw him for his last 4 or 5 movies. Like, he does little press runs. This is definitely probably the most iconic of them. But shout out the one episode he ever had with Brittany Broski. Chris, you showed me Brittany Broski. I was like, that's such an OG. That's like an OG video of them too, from like a few years ago, right? And he's kind of the man of the time, and he knows how to like kind of work all of the social media, but like in an effective way. That's like kind of a nice balance of organic and A24 throwing Instagram and Facebook and YouTube bunch of ad money and just put that shit out there, and people are going to be there. Yeah, we saw Jonas and I saw a sold out screening Christmas Day. It was an event. We had to make sure we were out there. We got there like 10:15 after fam stuff wrapped up. There we were. Everyone was there, not an empty seat in the house. And it was like that for like almost every single showing for like that 3-day period. which is pretty damn impressive, honestly. So I don't know. Maybe we might have just had our intro conversation. I don't even think we need to have any non-spoiler reviews. I kind of just want to hop on and have this conversation, including spoilers, with all three of you, because there's a lot to chat about for Marty Supreme. So we're going to come back and talk with you all about spoiler review on Marty Supreme right after this quick break. And we're back to talk about Marty Supreme, directed by Josh Safdie. Like we said at the very top, this is his first solo film away from his brother Agamon. I think that's how you pronounce his name. No, Benny Safdie, obviously. But they had both directed Good Times and Uncut Gems. Two movies I haven't seen. Marty Supreme is my first that I've seen from any of the Safdie brothers for this. I know Uncut Gems. Jonas plugged me for Christmas. Got me a Uncut Gems Criterion collection. And we will be watching that. Jared, you are invited. Dev, if you want to fly in, we will be watching Uncut Gems.
I'm there.
I'm there, easy. Yeah, show. Do you have it? Do you have it right here?
I was about to say I have it in my possession right now.
There
it's
is.
mine.
There it is. I hope
you're never
Jonas,
getting it
I did
back.
not
Harald,
give him the disc. He is just checking it out. But yes, Josh Safdie, giving us one of the best movies of the year for me. I'll just say it off the top. But we got to talk about cinematography as well by Darius Konji, and music by Daniel Lopatin. So we've got some good names, people who have been involved in the Safdie projects in the past. And it's just a stacked cast. We've already talked about this. Timothée himself as Marty Mauser, Odessa A'zion as Rachel Meisler. Yeah, they're going crazy as a duo in this movie. But we got Gwyneth Paltrow in here, Kevin O'Leary, Mr. Shark Tank himself, just like the worst of the worst. Shout out Shark Tank, but man, real life supervillain. Tyler the Creator as well. Check it out. As Tyler Okonma in the credits, which is super cool to see him make a big debut like this. I mean, shout out Loiter Squad, if y'all know. And there's a bunch of other names that we have on this. I'll leave that to maybe Jared to chat about. But yeah, y'all, 8.3 on IMDb. We got 94% Rotten Tomatoes. Very, very high scores on Letterboxd. It's like all 4.5s, and 5s if you look at that scale that people have been giving ratings. But we'll give you our ratings at the very end. Just kind of wanted to tee it up. For Chalamet Fan 97, let's toss it over to you. We are in full spoiler territory as we dream big about our reviews of this movie. I'm just gonna throw it over to you and let's get chatting. What did you think about Josh Safdie's Marty Supreme?
God, I loved it. I mean, as you all, I'm sure, can guess, I came to this movie for Timothée Chalamet. But I originally started as I don't want to say a Chalamet hater, maybe like a Chalamet wire. Why is everyone obsessed with him? What did he do? Like, what is his range? And over time, I became Chalamet Fan 97 because I was like, no, he can back this up. Like, his acting is top. I evolved. He brought me along for the ride with him. And really, in this movie, his performance was phenomenal. I mean, I knew he could act, but his performance in this movie was just outstanding. I was totally on for the ride. I mean, he embodied it in the marketing, but he didn't come to mess around. So that was outstanding. Gwyneth Paltrow was also a standout for me. I forgot because I think, honestly, the last movie I saw her in might have been like the Marvel Cinematic Universe. Like, that's the last time I saw her. And I forgot that she has range and she's actually an amazing, phenomenal actress. The Kevin O'Leary jump scare. Okay, also for context, before I went into this movie, I did not look at anything except what Timothée Chalamet was putting out. So I didn't know the plot. I just knew there was ping pong balls. I didn't know when it was going to be set. That was kind of a surprise for me. I didn't know who else was in the cast. It was just like, oh, Timothée Chalamet, ping pong, orange. That's it. So when I saw Kevin O'Leary, I think my eyebrows almost fell off my face. I was very surprised. But he was also great, probably because he's just kind of like that in real life. Like, he's just like an evil capitalist, and that's like his whole thing. Which, isn't he Canadian? Can anyone confirm? I think he's actually Canadian.
Working on that confirmation.
He is a Canadian. He's a Canadian businessman. Yep.
Yes, Kevin O'Leary.
Knew it.
Bang.
Yeah.
Also a shock. Also shocked me. No, but I love the movie. I was set in the time frame. I thought it was less about ping pong than I thought it would be. It was more about who Marty is as a person and just the ego, kind of self-serving. I mean, we'll get more into the themes later, but that kind of surprised me. And I also think I almost had like 2 panic attacks during the movie, mostly around the dog plot line, because can someone check on that dog's leg? But no, I love the movie. Thought it was great. The performances were outstanding. It was just I gave it a 4.5, but I think at the end I might have a revised update for you guys.
Oh, you're going to hear it first on the pod. Excited to hear it. Thank you, Dev. Jared Garalde. I had a great time reading your Letterboxd review. Again, JJ Gara, check that boy out. He got paragraphs on paragraphs now. I know you wanted to talk a little bit about the characters, but I do kind of want to know before we dive into how wild the character cast is, and there's a lot to say about that, what you thought about Marty Supreme as a film from beginning to end.
Yeah, I'm going to be citing my Letterboxd thing because that's kind of like how I feel about it in this very moment. But yeah, I think the words I used was like familiar, frustrating, and fascinating. Like, okay, I feel like a lot of movies, you know, kind of different movies can have different impacts on you. Sometimes it's like, whoa, this is what you can do with a movie, or, you know, like special effects or whatever. But this movie, it's like, man, this is how movies can make you feel. Because this movie kind of, it like made me feel so anxious and like honestly pissed. Like, I was so mad during this movie. When it ended, I was pissed. And I'm like, I love that. At first, I literally said in my review, like my initial review, I was like, I honestly almost rated this lower because I hated Marty so much. But I love that because we get to really understand and see who this person is throughout the whole movie. And yeah, I mean, I agree with Devon. Like, character's so good. It's such a visceral movie. Like, that Josh or that Safdie anxiety inducing movie is just like it's Safdie touch. Like, it's somehow they just know how to stress a brother out, because I'm like sitting on the edge of my seat this whole time, and I'm like looking towards. I watched it with my partner Yana, and I'm like looking over at Yana. I'm like, could you believe this guy? Like, it's so funny. But yeah, I mean, this movie is just so New York. I loved it. It's frustrating in like the best way. And the characters, I just love seeing the way that they're casted in this movie is just so fun. I know we'll probably talk a little bit more about this, but the Kevin O'Leary casting was so, I don't know why, but I needed this casting. I needed him to play this role. I don't know why, but maybe it's because he plays that character on Shark Tank, and I love Shark Tank, but like, he's literally just himself, which I love.
Yeah, is
that's
he
what
I don't know.
Is he
Josh,
acting? Like,
yeah, no, that's what Josh Safdie sort of said about the casting. He's like, he wanted people to hate that guy before he even opened his mouth. And like, I'm like, yeah, so that's like a very intentional, like, yeah, we're gonna cast the biggest asshole.
You see Kevin O'Leary, and you're like, I'm out. Like, and like, I'm already a little Shark Tank reference. But yeah, I mean, and there's like even other people in the cast. Like, I don't know if y'all caught this, but there is somebody. I think it was one of the people in the ping pong like bar,
like the training bar area.
The training area. And do y'all remember
the guy with the golden voice?
Golden voice. Yes. And I was like,
yes.
I saw him, and I'm like,
the mac and cheese
what is
commercial,
going on with
dog?
the casting with this movie?
He was the guy who was homeless, and they found him on the side of the road, and he was just talking with this velvety voice. That's one of the craziest stories from the internet in the early 2010s, bar none.
Yeah, I'm
Kraft
saying,
mac and
and
cheese, yo.
What an like a sleeper elite pick for no reason. Kevin O'Leary, such a goated pick. And then I'm looking at our show notes here. We got Kemba Walker and Tracy McGrady as the Globetrotters. I didn't even notice that.
Learned that from Kiko last night. I didn't even know.
That is so great.
I didn't even know.
That is so great.
Also,
but yes.
Go ahead, sorry.
No, yeah. I mean, I was just gonna wrap up thoughts. I mean, I think looking back on it, you know, in the moment, I was pissed and I hated the movie, but in the way that, like, I hate the movie in a way that I love it. I don't know. I love that I hate it. You know what I mean? Because they Josh Safdie and the whole team that put the film together just like did such a good job about crafting this grimy, visceral world and this character it's such an interesting spin on the idea of success and what it takes and what you're willing to give and what that means for the people around you. So yeah, it's such a fun and like, I hate to use the word powerful, but in a way it kind of is, because it made me feel this way about it, which I haven't felt about a movie like this frustrated, I guess, at a movie in such a long time. So, and for the best ways, not because it was bad, but because of the characters were just so good. So yeah, that's kind of where I'm at.
Great place to be. That's a full review right there. Real quick, Chris, before I throw it over to you, because I know you got some stuff to say as well about the film. I was just looking up some quotes earlier from the movie to try to get kind of where we're at right now in the cultural phenom that is Marty Supreme. Variety did some interview with Kevin O'Leary, and he said, it was kind of a long quote. I'm going to go through it all because I think it's just great. And shout out Josh for putting my boy in his place. Quote, I learned my lesson that film sets are not democracies. I'm not used to being told what to do. I do the telling. We shot something 20 times, and I said to Josh, okay, I think we got it. We can move on. He said, what the fuck are you talking about? There's no moving on until I say we're moving on. So I thank you, Josh Safdie, for doing what most people on Earth would probably want to tell that man.
What a Kevin O'Leary.
What a Kevin O'Leary ass thing to say.
Like,
but Josh knew what he was getting.
I
he was
love
trying to lock him
it.
up. Thank you, Kevin. Thank you, Josh.
Thank you, Kevin, for playing this asshole in this movie.
What a crazy quote. What a crazy quote. Chris Angkico, a man who has seen this movie three times? Twice now.
Just
two
twice.
times. But with a little bit of separation. And now you've had a week or so to think about what you think about it the second time watching it. So where do you want to start with your Marty review, Supreme? Marty Supreme review?
First of all, I had a question for Devon, just to follow up. So you said you were a Chalamet wire, and you turned to Chalamet fan. What performance made you a Chalamet fan? That's why I want to know.
Oh, spicy take. I think it was Bones and All.
Okay.
Is that a crazy?
Whoa.
It's a little spicy.
Kind of a deep cut.
Deep cut.
I mean, I think I liked him in Little Women, but there was something about his performance in Bones and All that I think I was like, no, I see some depth here that like really spoke to me. So that was probably the first one where he really stood out.
Okay.
That's fire.
He's like a bit of a freak in that movie. Doesn't he say like, he's like, yeah, we got like special powers, us cannibals. Doesn't he?
Yeah, no, it's a weird movie. That's why. But I think because it was so weird and like they literally are like there's so much eating people in that movie. Like everyone's getting eaten. And I still was like, wow, I feel for them. Like I felt for him and I was like invested emotionally in this weird cannibal love story where I'm not going to get into it, but I enjoyed his performance in that movie.
He's got the red highlights in that movie, right? The long curly red highlights.
Yeah, he does. He does.
Marty Mauser,
also a good
Willy Wonka. Come on.
Willy Wonka is what made me a Chalamet fan. I ain't gonna lie.
Wonka, yes, Wonka is like an unexpectedly like good movie. I was not expecting much from that, but I just like watched it. I was with my family in Canada. We're just like, let's just watch a movie that's Wonka. I was expecting it to be bad. And I think I rated it 4 stars.
Let's go.
And I was like,
ever sleep on Paul King, director of Paddington 1 and 2.
Woo! That is why I was like, okay, maybe this movie's good. And then it turns out it was. Yeah.
My God. Anyways, Chris and Kiko, Marty Supreme. What did you think of it? And where do you want to take this conversation?
Yeah, I mean, we always forget to talk about the score and the music until the very end. It always is kind of like a by the way. I feel so bad for that because I'm just like so into like a lot of the music of these movies. So I definitely want to just like shout out Daniel O'Patton and the score for the movie. It's just like incredible the whole time. I remember the first time that I watched it back in November, I was like, I wish I had just seen this on Christmas Day so I could have just like listened to the score like on the way home. Because I was looking like so forward to going back into it. Because like, yeah, like the scores for like Good Time Uncut Gems are also like super good, and they're all like very like synthy, spacey things, and it's just interesting hearing like the composer kind of talk about like what he was thinking about. Because first of all, I mean, he's very, all those scores are very like 80s synth scores, and like the movie's set in the 50s, and like that's a very like intentional choice because like Marty sees himself as kind of like the future. He kind of like sees himself as like a unicorn. Like, again, like table tennis is the future. I am the future of table tennis. And like, he just kind of, he's kind of aura farming the whole movie. And kind of the music is like Gwyneth Paltrow is like, that first conversation that she has with Marty over the phone is like, who is this guy sort of thing. And there's like that sort of like spacey score that happens during that scene. Cause it's online. They did like a breakdown. Josh and Timmy did of that scene. It's like so interesting cause she's just like walking in and it's like she's like looking like an enigma, and like the score is kind of like carrying you like through that in some ways. And like also the inspiration of like ping pong ball is like a very light thing. There's lots of like bouncy like mallet bell sounds throughout the whole thing, which I thought was interesting. And apparently Daniel Patton was very into like the concept of like birth, because he thought like whole.
And we picked up on that immediately.
We jump on that.
Shout out. Shout out.
That's true. That's true. Right away, you get the concept of birth immediately. Going into the ping pong ball. You got the, yeah. That's crazy.
But good mic drop.
Yeah. But he was in the concept of like very light things like birth and again, like being like the future sort of thing. I think those things kind of all like coalesce into the score. And also like, the soundtrack is very like it goes from 50s to 80s songs and just kind of like jumps back and forth, and like the bookends of the movie are like Tears for Fears songs, because like at the very beginning it's changed by Tears for Fears, and then it's Everybody Wants to Rule the World at the end by Tears for Fears. And yeah, I don't know, it just like all the music just like works so well in the movie. It's just like every choice that is made throughout is just like, oh, that was perfect, that completely worked. So I would just say that's my review. Is like, yeah, I'm gonna rate this movie very high at the end for sure at the end of this episode. But like the music is like 10 out of 5 for me. Score, soundtrack, everything. Yeah.
When he finally gets it done at the very end, the soundtrack during that part is just so like from the anxiety of the movie, the fact the soundtrack could just make you feel like, oh my gosh, we did it. It's so crazy.
Yeah, no matter, and it's coming from you, a man who hated Marty more than most. I mean, I didn't like Marty either. I'll be real with you.
And it's so funny because at that point, I'm literally, I go over, and I'm like, when he's in that final showdown, I'm like, I don't want to see him win. Like, I think he should lose. Yeah. Like,
rooting for Endo
for
hard,
everything
right?
that he's done. But I think the respect comes from like, he doesn't care, like he's gonna win on his own terms, and and it still does feel like triumphant from everything that we've been through throughout this movie. It's so interesting.
Devin, do you have any opinions on that? Yeah, came off mute.
No, I feel like this might be an unpopular opinion, so I was scared to say it, but we're all friends here. It's fine.
Yes.
I kind of liked Marty. I don't know. I mean, he's not a good
Talk on
person.
it.
He's a bad person, okay? But I am a hopeful person. If there's one thing about me, maybe this makes me naive, I don't know, but I like to see some goodness in people. Maybe that means I would be, Gwyneth Paltrow on the phone, falling for his antics, giving him my $1 million necklace in a weird park, whatever. But I think he, again, bad person, very manipulative. He could talk the pants off someone. I mean, I guess he did kind of talk the pants off a few people, but
yeah,
he, at the end, when he was holding his baby for the first time, and I saw that hopeful look on his face, it's not that I like him, but I just was like, maybe there's something good in all of us. Like, he's objectively not a good person, but I think we all have good pieces to us. Does he have a giant ego? Yes, but also I've met so many men in the world who have giant egos and overinflated opinions of themselves. Like, you're not making yourself that unique. So I don't know. There's good and bad. I was rooting for him by the end.
No, and I love that you said that, because I think that you can definitely read the movie in those two ways. Like, and I think I agree with you in that fact of like, there is that hopeful ending. You're like, hopefully he can, redeem himself and grow out of this person that he am. And also I think it's kind of clear, like, he has all these people that kind of are looking out for him and love him in his life. Like, he is a likable person. They love him. Like,
I love you.
He's a likable person. He's got the confidence to back everything up, like that he's saying, but I think he just his flaw is that he just goes about it in such like probably the worst ways possible. But that belief in yourself, there's something like you have to, respect about that. And I that's kind of like where I ended up landing. It's just throughout the, like, you just get so frustrated with his actions. And that's probably, if we're putting ourselves in those shoes of the other people in his life, that's probably how everyone else feels about him. It's like, oh, you have so much potential as this person and you're a good guy, but why do you keep making these decisions? And that's what was so frustrating about it. And I love that perspective, because I think there is like an avenue where you do root for him, and I completely like see that point of that. It's like such a interesting, complex guy.
I will say the first thing I said when I walked out of that movie theater was Rachel needs to find a new man because that was a toxic, not her first man
is a
either.
narcissist. Like,
sorry, where does she get shot? Does she get
never
shot
wanted
in, like,
that
the
baby.
chest?
They kind of like match each other a little.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think she got shot like in the shoulder.
Crazy. He's like,
because in a way, she also kind of believes in him, and I think
and she's also kind of manipulative. I mean,
do we want to talk about the biggest gasp in the theater?
Oh
the
my
biggest
gosh!
Fucking gasp that we got in our theater. And Chris, I mean, we talked about it a little bit. It's the fake black guy. It's the fake domestic abuse. It's crazy because it also shows you how good they casted all of these side characters. Like, I forget the name of the guy, but I know that there's a story about when they cast the dude who plays Odessa A'zion's husband at the time. They like went for someone who's real, like, menacing. Like, he had like such an intense look that it just like stuck with the casting directors and Josh Safdie for like hours afterwards. Like, that's how that dude played the perfect intense character that you would tend to believe would be the time to abuse his lady. We may have jumped the gun a bit because that makeup was good. That could have convinced anyone. So when she starts doing her single tear, and that's oh my god, the gasps in the audience when you find out it's just makeup on her eye. Insane. Absolutely crazy.
That was just like I almost forgot about that moment because it was just such a like whoa, like what is happening kind of thing, and it happens at the at the peak moment of just everything going wrong, and yeah, like it was almost like just like, oh, also this, you know what I mean? Marty, you almost killed somebody, like, surprise. Also, but I mean, how do y'all feel about that? Like, how do y'all feel about that plotline? Because I don't know. I don't know. Like, what is?
Chris looks like he's raring to go.
It happened so fast. Yeah, Chris. Like,
what do you think?
Well, yeah, no. That entire scene like just disoriented me because it's like this giant like manic episode. Because like all of a sudden, you know, he's just going to the house. He's got the whole. He's got to deal with the dog. Now he's got to deal with this thing. He's got to like stay in the like Dion's house, and it's like, you know, he's like, I got the balls here. And then he's like, you know, this is great or whatever. And then he goes out and back in, and there's like 5 different things that happen. I can't remember all of them. And I feel like that's kind of the point of it, is like it just feels like just kind of just a rush, like in his head. He's just bouncing from one thing to another, and he's just like not very good at addressing these He's like. He just kind of like a problem introduces itself, and then he leaves. He throws it. He like passes the buck, but then it just comes up and creeps back up on him like later on, and he just does that for multiple things. And again, that's kind of like the core of like the character for me. Is like, yeah, he's just a menace. Like, you know, he's only thinking about getting to Tokyo. All this stuff is about getting to Tokyo. He does not care about anything else that's happening. Like, you know, when he's like, oh, when the tub incident. You know, when the thing falls and the guy's like, oh, take some money and take the dog to the, you know, whatever. And he just looks at the money. He's like, oh, shit, I'm going to hustle with this, man. Like, you know, he's just like thinking about the next thing that like serves him. But then it just all spirals out of control for him.
He almost always does the right thing. Just like almost. But then he's just like, nah, like we got to pivot. Oh yeah,
I mean, his vibe.
You got me thinking about everything, like with the bathroom when the tub fall.
Let's open it up.
These random moments.
Like, that was the most shocking moment of the entire thing. Yeah,
it's the most shocking moment of 2025 for me. Like I was not. Jonas leaned over to me. He's like, "Bro, stop breathing so hard." Like everyone in the movie can hear you because I was so locked in.
Almost like nothing in this movie prepares you for that. Like, okay, yeah, this is like, we're gonna go this route. It almost seems like comical in a way. Like, well, it is comical. Like,
it's slapstick almost, but like such an extreme version of a slapstick
falling
comedy.
through the exactly.
It's like comical, and then you see an arm bone sticking out. You know,
and then the dog's trying to get out of here.
Oh, it's
like
real.
This movie. Okay, so there's 2 things. I got 2 questions for y'all. I'm gonna open up with the dog question. I think we got two dad and a mom dog. Wait, dog mom and a mom dad. We have 2 people that own dogs here. Shout out Borgie and Jax. But I want to start off with how that made you feel, but also open it up wider to a conversation about the vibe of this 1950s aesthetics. Post World War II was a crazy time to be alive. Shout out the grandparents if you got them. I'd shout them out the next time you see them, because the 50s looked like a crazy time to be alive. And only in the 50s do I think someone like Marty Mauser could have done everything he did. I mean, half the characters in this movie could have done what they did. But this was like, I mean, even that little goose chase where his dad like actually called the cops on him, and he's like running in like that scene from the trailer that's super epic of him with his tank on, just running everything in his suitcase, just trying to get onto the next hustle. Like that's
blowing up a gas station.
Dead ass.
Like we couldn't get away with that.
Couldn't get away with that. No. Like just like going off and like shanking a guy in the middle of the street just because he came out with a dog, just like that that pet shop owner guy. Anyways, that dude was a menace as well. But let's go over. I want to talk a little bit dog talk. We'll talk about the dog right now. How'd you feel about the dog? I know they flash it up at the very end. No pets were harmed in the making of this movie. But oh man, that gets a visceral reaction out of most people. So
hard watch. That's for sure. That's all I was thinking about when at the end when they have that shootout at his house. I'm like, about the dog. Like what? Oh,
seriously.
Do we ever find out?
No, it's like who's gonna go back for the fucking dog? Like they're all running around. Half the people are dead or dying, and they just leave the dog. I mean, granted, okay, pregnant lady shot in the shoulder. Like priorities, I get it. But also,
oh look at Jax
the
in the
dog.
background.
I know Jax is here right now. He heard me saying dog, and he was like, "You called." No, but honestly, I was anxious about the dog the whole entire movie. Not to be a stereotypical dog person, but I was really stressed out. Even from the moment the bathtub falls through the ceiling, I was like, is the dog okay? But at the same time, that was the turning point in the movie where I was like, no, I really have no idea what this is about. Like, I did not know the ride I was about to be on. And that's when I maybe wasn't heavy breathing like Harald, but my heart was pounding. Like, I was in it. I was stressed. Yep. And the whole time that was definitely in the background for me. And also I feel like from the get-go, I was kind of like, they have to get this guy his dog back. Like he had all that cash in his duffel bag. I'm like, no normal person carries around cash like that. Like
valid crash out from the guy.
Yeah.
Trying to get his dog back.
Yeah.
Although why did his dog smell like shit? Because he's like, your dog is literally covered in feces. There's so many things about the side characters in this movie, including that one guy.
Well, he was
like
just
an
clearly like
execution
mafia.
Like I'm assuming.
like mafia dog, maybe. Yeah, no, that would give vibes. No, I just mainly bringing it up because it just shows you how much depth there is. You could have made a movie behind like most of the side characters in this film, and it would have been interesting.
And all of the characters feel like so like real people. Of like,
because half of them were just dudes
has been
and
through a lot
gals
with
off
this
the
dog.
street. Yeah.
Well, and do you guys have you ever seen Curb Your Enthusiasm?
Of course.
Yes.
That, to me, this felt like a long Curb Your Enthusiasm episode where I'm like, everything that is happening to you is the consequence of your own choices and all of the mistakes you've made, namely taking this dog and not getting it back for this mafia guy that came back to bite him. Also,
it seems like you throwing a little bit of Always Sunny in Philadelphia too, and I think you're getting a bit more about what this movie is. But go ahead.
Yeah, it's like if it isn't the consequences of my own actions, like it is so similar to Uncut Gems in that way. I mean, no, hopefully that's not a spoiler, but like
more hopeful ending.
It's a very similar kind of vibe of like this person who's really attached to one particular thing and needs to do all of their actions are centered around that. And I think, it just causes chaos in the background.
I do want
to your point.
Yeah, go ahead.
No, to your point, as like a period piece, like I'm still trying to work through the idea of, the placement of this post-war kind of redemption, like especially with that last showdown at the end where they had the American soldiers and then the Japanese citizens there, and then the American soldiers were kind of rooting for Marty, like, yeah, you know what I mean? And this kind of idea of that post-war redemption, I'm still trying to work through that. So I was wondering if y'all thoughts on like, because you mentioned the period piece, and I'm kind of like still trying to figure out what the significance of that was with this movie.
Well, I know one thing is I think Kevin O'Leary's like whole thing is like also like a comment on like capitalism in general, because he's playing his shark self. So like he goes to this thing. He's only he goes to the ping pong match because Timmy's getting into it with Gwyneth Paltrow, and he's like what the hell is this about? And then he through that he's like, okay, like Timmy's like, dude, the paddle the Japanese use is crazy, and then like the whole like, oh okay, even though you lost, you should play endo in a promotional event for my pens so that I can like, so we can like, we got this emerging game. I can use this as a vehicle to promote my pens. And then also, so then there's that whole thing. And then you see later on in the movie when, Marty refuses, after Marty refuses Rockwell's offer, and he goes back into the house and begs to go to Tokyo.
Oh.
And the paddle that he picks up is the Rockwell like branded Japanese, paddle. So he's basically taken the idea that like Timmy he's like, this is a better paddle. And he's like, I'm going to brand that paddle. And so now he's getting spanked with a paddle that has been suggested to him. It's like, oh yeah, this is the ideal paddle. And so, and then he goes to Japan, and it's completely, the entire event is like encased in the Rockwell branding. It's like, this event is not for, it's not for the purity of the sport. It's literally to like sell my pens. Yep. You're lining up, and because like Endo's the champion, and you're gonna play him, and whatever happens. It doesn't matter. Like your victory or whatever is not at stake here. It's like, I'm just gonna promote my pens.
Well,
that's all you're here for, sort of thing. Like, you're just worthless to me at this point.
Where they're meeting up with his buddy who used to be the world champion, and then he's a little older, right? He was he was a Hungarian Jewish, incarcerated like in the camps, just like knew how to defuse bombs, or they put him on diffusing bomb servers. There's that scene where he covers himself in honey, and the precursor another crazy scene. That's something that deserves. Let's talk about that too. But I attached to that too is Marty like laughing at his like Kevin O'Leary's like the Rockwell son dying in World War II, which is also like just so indicative of this period piece stuff. And for it to flip at the very end to be bare
casual
ass Timmy,
casual
racism, but like Marty getting spanked bare ass at the very end with a Japanese paddle with the Rockwell ink insignia on the back, like you were saying, Chris, really just brings it full circle. But can we talk about that dinner scene real quick? Because that's like one of the most important scenes in the movie for me. It's just kind of how Marty plays himself to be like, I'm going to get the upper hand on Rockwell right now, and just evolves into so many different things we could talk about. So where do we start, Jared?
I think the thing I think about with that scene is like, because Marty's kind of talking about, and you're talking about when he gets like spanked, right?
Yeah, when he gets spanked at the end.
Yeah, okay. Like, I feel like, because Marty's talking throughout the whole movie, like, I want success on my terms. I don't want like handouts, blah, 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 blah. And it got me thinking about this idea of like, did he really like what was success like to him? Did he want actually success in the way of like, oh, I want to be the next tennis star, I'm the future, or did he just want to win? He wanted to get to Japan so he could just win and have best Endo. You know what I mean? Because like at this point he's humiliating himself in a way. He's losing. Like he's losing at life. Like at the end he ends up not having any money. Like he loses all of the things that he was going to get. He can't even play in the tournament. But that he has that triumphant end still. So, and it kind of starts with this, like he's humiliating himself, but this is his way of getting just to Tokyo. And so like that's kind of idea. Like, did he really want success in the way that he says, or did he just really want to win? That's like kind of what I was thinking about in that moment.
I think he's just, the whole movie is trying to like convince people of his own greatness, but also like convince people of the greatness of table tennis also. Because one of the first scenes is like, he's trying to promote his ball, first of all. He's like, this orange ball, you see this thing? You can't see it, right? But you put this orange thing up and then you can see the ball or whatever. But then he's also like trying to convince this business guy that like table tennis is like the future sport. It's like getting big like all over the world and all this stuff. Like it's the future, it's the next thing. And he's like, I'm gonna be that thing. I'm gonna be the best table tennis player in the world. And he's like trying to on two levels convince himself that he's the best player in like the best like up and coming sport. And like listening to sort of like the writer's commentary is that like the fact that it's table tennis and not like another sport like baseball, where it's like baseball at that time was like America's pastime. Like that's a very like noble, more noble thing to probably get into. But like table tennis is like silly. That's one thing of like, even if like one of us was like seriously like, oh, I want to be really good at table tennis, they'd be like, that's cool, but like, what are you talking about, man? Like, you want to be the best in the world, like at this sport. So it's like kind of an inherently like ridiculous thing to sort of be like, want to be the best at. And I think that's kind of what played into using this vehicle to tell that story through.
And yeah, and so like in a way, at the end, like he is almost more promoting the sport at that point rather than himself. I guess you could see it
because he's
like, in that
technically
way.
through like Rockwell's eyes, he successfully has promoted the sport to him. He convinced him that the sport was worth hitching his wagon to.
And
But
now
then
there's that
obviously he did-
international ties
Yeah.
in
Yeah,
it too.
he's showing
Ooh.
off like almost like one of the first probably like major US and Japanese like combo type advertising that was done after World War II. And it's Chris and I talked about it a little bit last night, like the whole vibe between Endo and Marty. The entire movie is kind of like, look at what Endo had to go through to get to this point. You know, he's deaf, he's gone, and he got that from the war in like his character's lore. And there's arguably a lot more that you have from his backstory that I think really sells that he should be the hero of a story like this. But then Marty comes in as the protagonist of this movie to show you it's not always like that, especially when there's an American involved a bit, also from the post-50s.
I mean,
but yeah.
I guess in the way, like in the end, the winner is table tennis at that point, right? Like that the winner, they had the great match, and table tennis is the winner. Like maybe Marty's transcending that selfishness.
There's also that thing where like after Endo beats Marty for the real championship, there's like a newsreel that like plays, which is kind of one of my favorite parts. Was like kind of, it looks like a very like authentic fake newsreel. And it's like, oh, okay, this is our first step to like getting back on the world stage sort of thing. Obviously, like I think this is something like Godzilla sort of talks about too, is like, like nuclear fallout, like post-war fallout type thing. But this is like kind of like symbolic of like Japan trying to like get itself back into relevance, because they're like, oh, we shamed the American, like our, Endo's like our champion, and he comes back and there's like a big parade for him because he has just defeated like an American like on the world stage. Like, okay, like, when will the American come back to bring more shame to his country sort of thing, and when can Endo like handle him again? And yeah, like the irony is that like Endo's like the biggest op for Marty, but he can't speak because like, yeah, his hearing through like a bombing or whatever they say is like he's deaf now. And so like he can't talk to the guy at all. Like they don't converse at all. Where like Marty's just doing all the talking. He's doing all the mouthing off. I just thought that was interesting.
Well, and when you think about winning too, like Endo may have lost that last match, but he won in the tournament. He had all of his country behind him. He was famous, and he had like this, from a humble background to beating an American at this sport, like literally like came up and was famous and beloved by everyone. Meanwhile, everyone who meets Marty hates him, like literally detests him. And he may have won the match, but he's broke. He's going back, like he's not getting to be part of the tournament. And I feel like that was just a message that kept coming up to me throughout the whole entire movie is Marty is so focused on this one particular thing that he's missing all of the easy wins in front of him. Like Endo had to work so hard and came from all the struggle to get where he was at. And then Marty had so many different opportunities. Like he could have been the manager of his uncle's store. He could have, I thought the orange ping pong balls, honestly, I'm not gonna lie, in that last match, I was like, when's he gonna pull out that orange ping pong ball?
No,
They were all wearing white.
totally.
I was waiting, but I'm like, that could have been his moment to like turn it around on Mr. Kevin O'Leary and be like, this is me marketing my orange ping pong ball because we're playing in all white right now. But he didn't, because all he does is hyper fixate on his goal and his ego, and he misses all of these easy wins in ways he could be even richer than the pen guy. Like he could have marketed this for himself in a whole different way, but he missed that.
You're spitting.
And one other thing. So when I was leaving the theater, my friend, shout out Xavier, he pointed out to me too. So they're both wearing white. They're playing with white ping pong balls. And that was very intentionally mentioned earlier in the movie. And he was like, can you really call it a win? Because Endo is deaf and he can't hear the ball bouncing. So technically he's kind of playing at a disadvantage. Whereas again, if he pulled out the little orange ping pong ball, it would have been more equitable. So he kind of, he won, but it's almost like if you can't see and you can't have that extra sense of hearing, he kind of had an inherent advantage. So I'd be curious what you guys think about that. I didn't even think about it until Xavier mentioned it.
I didn't think about it until you brought it up. So there you go. Shout out
Xavier.
Xavier.
Shout out Xavier. That's so interesting. I mean, like, I love the point that you made about like his relationship with Endo, because like in a way he's almost Marty's like the evil version of him, like
Darth Endo.
Yeah, he's like exactly like he is Endo is kind of embodies everything that he kind of almost wants to be, and that maybe feel like Marty feels like if he can beat him in a tennis match, that's like those things will come to him in a way. And so, yeah, it kind of brings in a whole new perspective. So you were spitting super hard, but like I definitely am kind of curious about the whole orange ping pong ball thing, and because once they throw it out the window, that's kind of the last time we talk about it too.
That's one of the more powerful parts of the movie too, because his character is his friend is Dion is just along for the ride. Really, also, he's kind of shout out.
Doesn't deserve him.
no. Shout out. Biggest Trae Young hater, Luke Manley. I'm sure there's other Knicks fans, but God. Yeah, no. Dion, played by Luke Manley, just a guy that they found on one of these. I forget what the name of the YouTube channel is, but it's the one that Bing Bong. Catch me.
I think it's Side Talk. It's called Side Talk. Yeah,
I
do big really Trae Young hater episode, but no, he deserved better. Dion deserved much better. I can't see
anything different now.
Yeah, seriously.
Trae Young. But I do think like I kind of agree with you, Devon, on the idea of the ping pong ball kind of representing like potential that was never really kind of realized. Like it ends up being metaphorically and maybe literally thrown out the window because of his actions.
Oh yeah.
And so, yeah, that's an interesting point because it is like pushed pretty heavily, like even in the marketing material. So, but it never really, it serves more of kind of like a thematic component, if anything, rather than a literal sense of.
Well, so much of the marketing was orange and orange ball, dudes wearing orange balls on top of their heads.
Yeah.
And
like Timothée Chalamet, his Tonight Show interview, he's got 5 dudes with orange helmets, like sitting behind him.
I thought they were Dragon Balls. I think a lot of people thought they were too, and I'm like, oh, this is crazy. But yeah, I mean, like with the endo thing too, like I think so because I mean, with the like you said, they were wearing white, and I'm like thinking about that more now.
Perfect time to do it if you thought through the plan, right? Yeah. But he doesn't think through things. It's whatever is next to get him to that final moment when he's just fucking on the verge of bawling because he's like, this is my kin, like this is my next, like rebirth almost of himself after finally accomplishing this one thing. Like maybe in that moment, he just was like, I'm giving up on the table tennis thing. I'm giving up on ping pongs across the board. I'm going to accept that I'm a dad now because I finally got to like that hump. But even then, I'm just like, I don't trust the character of Marty Mauser to have had a full thing after like the movie is done.
Do y'all think that, I mean, I think it's kind of played as a hopeful thing, but do y'all think that, there is this redemption for him?
What I will say about that birthing scene is that the baby is like, it's all the crying babies. But then once the baby's picked up and shown to Marty, he goes like what?
That's my dad.
Like that's my dad type of thing. That was funny. I just thought that was very funny. Just like it's very like dumb. He's very dumbfounded that like that's the father. Like who is this guy? Type of thing. I think that's a great way to put their relationship on the right foot.
I will say, again, I'm a hopeful person. So at the end of the movie, I mean, the whole time. It was like in spite of myself, I couldn't help but root for him, even though I knew he was a bad person. But again, like it's like you said, Jared, he had the potential and he just could not see past his own ego and his own, superficial sense of self, I guess, to get to that potential and really tap into it. But there's so many people around him who did see it. But one moment, I have to go back to the honey scene. I'm sorry, I'm bringing that back up.
That's such a big scene.
Yes.
I marinated on that for so long because I was so confused. I was so confused. Like, what is the point of this scene? And I was just thinking about it and him laughing about this scene. And I feel like, to me, again, it comes back to his character, who he is and how he reads into things. For him, it's like a funny haha story of like, this guy did this thing, like that's so crazy. But I'm like, this guy literally was like diffusing bombs against his will. Like he's like a prisoner. He's in, like a Nazi camp and he's diffusing bombs for them. And he does this like weird but like completely selfless thing.
Oh my gosh.
But Marty couldn't see, like he didn't see this as this is someone who's doing something selfless to help other people in a terrible traumatic situation. He saw it as, oh my god, this is a crazy story about this guy rubbing honey on himself.
And this dude also like was like, keep going with this good money, this good gig you've got with me and the Harlem Globetrotters. You don't want to hang out with Kemba Walker all day? Like we can be here.
He's like, are you joking?
Are you joking right
now?
now?
Like this is a mockery.
Yeah, seriously. No, that's a great point.
That's a really interesting perspective because I think the whole thing is told from Marty's point of view like so hard that like it is very easy because like if he misses it, like obviously the first time think a lot of people also miss it. Because that did not register for me whatsoever.
same.
I was just kind of thinking it was more indicative of the movie. It's like, oh, you think it's a ping pong thing, but then it just kind of goes into different directions, like just kind of the twist of the story type of thing. But that's an interesting angle to like.
Yeah,
think about
I
it.
do feel like it really does drive home that point of like Marty is selfish. You know, he can't see past himself. Like he wants to do anything in the way that he thinks is the right way. Like I would never do something like that. You know what I mean? Or something like he has to do it this way. I would never make money on the side with the Harlem Globetrotters, which, to be honest, he eventually does. Like he eventually does end up doing it because he has to.
It's like when Gwyneth Paltrow's
prideful.
like, "What do you do for food?" Doesn't even enter my consciousness like to do anything other than the way Timmy says that really.
What a
goes crazy.
wild thing to say.
It doesn't even enter my consciousness. Please.
And do you think this, like with that and our understanding of Marty as a person, do you think like this is more of like, because this is something I was sitting on, like, is this more of a cautionary tale or is this more of like, because I think in the marketing material, they were like, this is a movie about success and believing
Dream big,
in yourself.
right? Yeah.
Dream big. And I'm like, I definitely see that part of the movie, but I also think it's like, whoa, you could definitely take this too far. Or,
Well,
you know, it's okay to believe in yourself, but you have to maybe see it, or you have to go about it the right way and not abandon the people who believe in you, things like that. Because it doesn't seem like a, and Devon, like I want to know your perspective in particular, because you have that hopeful like outlook on it. Like, do you see this as a hopeful movie, or do you see it more of like a, whoa, like be careful?
Honestly, it's kind of like when I was growing up, my dad bought me a big book of Aesop's Fables, if anyone has ever read those, but it's like, I loved those things, but this is like a modern fable for me, where I'm like, he doesn't learn his lesson until the very end when he's had to go through all of these things. And I also think, again, this is maybe just like my naive, hopeful perspective. It's definitely not true. I wish I could say it's true for everyone, but I do think parenthood changes you. Like when he looked into the eyes of his child, I feel like that does change something in you, and just maybe I'm just reading into the expression on his face, but I feel like he maybe had completed his journey, maybe not in the way he wanted to, maybe not in a way that was satisfying. Do I think he's a better person at the end of the movie? I don't know, but it felt hopeful to me. I felt more uplifted at the end of the movie.
Chris, you look like you're about to get going on something as well. How do you feel about kind of that perspective, or if you have something else to say?
Yeah, I think it's interesting. I think the marketing is kind of a prologue to the movie in a lot of ways, because it is like basically this Marty Supreme and it's like ultimate marketability. It's like, yeah, we're setting up the merch, we're setting up the tennis balls, we're setting up Timmy like standing at the top of the sphere. This is kind of like the final form of like Marty Supreme, basically, is what I think of. And then you're kind of like thrown into this movie, and he's there advertising the ball. He's thinking about like being great and like his future sort of thing. And then you see, like, as the movie goes on, like, oh yeah, that entire concept is like upended. Like once he does not become world champion and he shuts himself out of all these opportunities and he ignores his responsibilities and all this stuff. And then by the end, it's not about, and obviously the balls are, like you guys talked about, are literally thrown out the window. So I feel like just kind of like dovetails, kind of loops around to, yeah, like he has to like kind of reprioritize like what's important to him. And like when you see the kid at the end, he's like, oh, like I'm here. Like, you know, I'm here. I'm going to support. At least that's what you think. You're kind of left with that. Like, okay, like he's here now.
Like now I got to worry about someone else's future.
Exactly. So I just feel like it kind of like when I watched it and I was watching the marketing, I'm like, okay, this is going to be kind of an interesting like connection. And I feel like just kind of talking about it with you guys, that's kind of what I put together, at least in my head. Just thinking about that. Yeah.
Well, and honestly, I even remember when the marketing first kind of started, or it was honestly after Timothée Chalamet gave his speech. Where was his speech at? Where he was like, I want to be great. Like, I want to be one of the greats, when he was aspiring to that, right?
Complete unknown, I think.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yes. When he gave that speech, people were like roasting him over the coals. They were like, who is this guy who thinks he's like, who talks like that? But I'm like, athletes do kind of talk like that. Number one, I'm sorry. That's like, have you listened to an athlete talk?
Yeah.
You guys listen to way more athletes than I do,
playoffs are
to be
getting
honest.
started.
But
like every NFL player always thanks God, and then he says some shit about being like, yeah, I'm coming for the throne. Like,
yeah. So first of all, kind of fits in that way. But also I'm like, that to me, I'm like, no, that worked. Like that was him being Marty Supreme, having that ego, kind of carrying that chip on his shoulder. And so I totally agree with you, Chris. Like, I feel like the marketing was perfectly embodying the start of the movie, just maybe not like exactly where I thought it was going to go.
Yeah, maybe almost like how Marty sees himself rather than who he actually
the narcissist
is.
within.
Yeah, yeah. It's so I'm having so many realizations right now. Like this
that's
is
a
so
good part
cool.
about talking with people about this kind of
Yeah.
stuff. Yeah,
I think, like,
I'm learning
Timmy,
so much
like-
from what y'all are saying about it.
Like Timmy is the star. Like he is already a star. And like Marty wants to be a star. And it's like, yeah, I just think that's so interesting. Is like when you don't realize stardom, where do you go from there?
Well,
type of
too,
thing.
he's in a movie where he shouldn't, like, there are so many people that could be villains. Like, the main antagonist of this villain, I think, is probably some combination of Endo as his rival and then Kevin O'Leary as, like, the ruthless capitalist that kind of finds his way into a lot more of the story, especially when he's with
himself.
Yeah, seriously. Like, especially when he's with his wife. Like, there's all these background things happening that he doesn't even know is going on. Like, the Rockwell man does not know himself. But there's that one scene
Possibly
where,
a vampire.
Possibly. There we go.
It just randomly drops that.
I am born in
a vampire.
1601.
Yeah,
I am a
like
vampire.
I know you're probably joking, but why do I believe you?
Yeah, no, seriously. Like, they're teeing it up that this dude should be the guy you hate the most and that you are the most critical of. But at the end of the day, you're critical of the protagonist more than anything. I don't think they're heroes and villains. It's just the 1950s in New York. And
absolutely
it's a scary
not.
place to be, and also a place where you could become the person who controls cultural power for the next 3 decades if you play your cards right. And that's what Marty's trying to do until the end, where it's, we've already talked about it. Like, you come up with your own opinion out of it, but it ends there.
And
for
in
a
defense
reason.
of Kevin O'Leary's character, like, I mean, okay, I think he's an antagonist for sure, but he's also like pretty pragmatic. Like, other than the evil, but like he's taking, pretty logical business opportunities, and also like Marty pretty much disrespected him as well. Like, you think about it, he's not like a mustache twirling villain. I love using that term, but he's really not. Like, he's a businessman and he would act how you would expect a businessman to act. Like, doesn't really necessarily give second chances, but then he pulls the paddle thing, and you're like, okay.
But also he did make jokes about his dead son. So
he's fighting.
I mean,
he's
so
over
like,
with it.
Also,
He's
valid
looking up with
crash
his
out.
wife behind his
Yeah.
back, like, it's crazy. The amount of, I would argue, there is a constant power struggle where Marty is kind of on the winning end for most of the film until that
Like,
spanking
you're ruining my business, by the way. I took a chance on you. And
does he end up on top
basically-
at the end? Like, I want to come back around to that. Like, does he end up on top at the end? Because he does get
Marty?
this man. Yeah, after the whole vampire talk, he's just like, nah, Marty does everything that the Rockwell man himself does not want to see done.
Like I said, I feel like he honestly he loses in a lot of ways, but in a way, like he wins on his own terms. Like, he's satisfied, and I think that's as a selfish person that he is.
Yeah.
Like, that's what matters to him, and that to him is the dub. And I, with our discussions earlier, I really do think like probably the dub is for tennis, and having table tennis win in that regard and putting it on the map like that is probably also a win for him, and maybe a sign of him putting his pride aside and saying, hey, this is going to be a win for tennis with this match, and versus just me winning for my own satisfaction. I think it could be seen in a couple ways. I don't know.
How do you see it, Chris?
I don't know if it's technically, maybe I'll take the little more cynical view about the tennis thing, because I do think Rockwell, even though he's really pissed off about how it went, he is still like he rejected, because Marty rejected him in the first place. Right. But then he's like, I see the potential in table tennis to market my product, sort of thing. So he's able to sort of like create, he gave him the idea of the paddle. He gave him the idea of holding this event, like inviting Endo there. He when he sees that first match between him and Endo, he right there, he kind of sees the potential of the sport and like what it can do for him. I think in terms of, we're talking about like, a winner in like financial terms, I think the Shark came out on top with the win, type of thing. That's kind of what, at least if we're talking about like wins, that's kind of what I think about. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
But in a moral sense?
Yeah. Yeah.
They're both terrible, in a way.
Yeah.
I mean, he kind of loses the power struggle, but at the end of the day, like, he's rich. He's going to go home to his mansion, his actress wife who is cheating on him, but he buys her $1 million necklaces. Like, he's going to be fine.
I'll never forgive this movie for making me see Kevin O'Leary half naked. I'll never forgive him.
Crazy first debut.
Debut scene.
Debut scene. But yeah, no, totally. And like what we were saying is, like, honestly, Marty loses in a lot of ways, but it's interesting how the movie kind of makes you feel like, hey, he won.
It's one of those things where it's like, okay, maybe you won on principle, but what did you gain? Like, you didn't gain anything right now.
Yeah, that man still owes $1,500 to the World Table Tennis Association. They don't recognize.
I mean,
him.
He's committed like 6 felonies at this point.
Seriously, that they'll never find out about. That's what's so crazy. Again, of the period.
I know, 50s.
Everything that happens on the farm is insane. I'm just like,
and that's what I'm saying.
Like, thank you, Penn Jillette.
He suffers consequences, but at the same time, like, he kind of doesn't. Like, in a way, like, he's never gets arrested again. Like,
but he might after the movie ends. Like, you're not meant to see what comes after the birth of that auspicious child looking at his body.
Arguably manslaughter with like what happened at the farm. Like,
hey, he better hope that mafia dude did not tell anyone about his name.
And also, he abandoned the dog. So, Marty,
not cool.
Not cool.
Not cool.
Not cool.
Hey, last thoughts on that? What you thought? What you thinking?
I was gonna ask, like, as kind of like a last thoughts type of thing, like, sports movie. We kind of chatted about that. Are we ranking this in the sports movie like Hall of Fame? Is this like? Do we think it's a sports movie? I gotta say,
like, I absolutely think it's a sports movie. By the end of this,
it Remember the Titans? Like,
it's not Remember the Titans. Supreme, it's not Moneyball, but it has aspects, I think, of what makes something like Moneyball really good, where it's like you don't see a lot of on the field action. I know that's kind of like, I don't know, like when Chris and I saw him late last year, like that's not a movie that like you see a lot of like on field action. But I would say that has totally. It's a great question because now I'm questioning if Him is even a sports movie. But I'd say Him is a sports movie, and I think that Marty Supreme is also a sports movie solely because of the
fresh take.
It's also it's a
fresh take on those themes.
It's the battle between Endo and Marty at the end that cements it as a sports movie for me. Like that's insane.
It's the battle for self-belief and success. So in a way, like that's like it takes the sports movie themes and kind of twists it a little bit. So I would say so too. I don't know. Chris?
Well, because it's the fact that like you're not. I think what makes it the twist is that he's not trying to win the champ. Like he already loses the championship, and he puts himself in a position where he can't win the championship. I think that's like another thing that kind of separates it, at least for me, other sports movies. He has to kind of like settle for the imitation of it, and I think that's kind of what makes it a more complex sports movie. Yeah,
even in the sports movies where they don't win the championship, it's always like we have the moral victory, like we became a team along the way, or like,
right,
you know what I mean?
Like a Disney Channel original movie type of
exactly,
type of thing,
yeah. Like it's the journey that matters, or you know what I mean? Like we tried our hardest, like and it almost kind of touches that kind of vibe, but there's no moral victory to be found or anything. Like the lesson is, like you were saying, Devon, is like what was like the lesson, I don't know. I feel like what makes a sports movie a sports movie? Like I feel like I need that definition first. For me, I feel like this isn't a sports movie because I'm like, it's not really about sports. I mean, it's like telling a story through the framework of sports, but it's about a person, and it's about ego, and it's about selflessness and capitalism and post-war relations and things like that. But I don't really feel like it's about ping pong. Ping pong was just the vessel. It's kind of the same. Maybe this can be a spicy take. Chris, don't hate me for this, but I feel like it's a sports movie in the same way Challengers is a sports movie, where it's not really a sports movie. It's about relationships. It's about a theme.
No, I agree. I think the tennis is basically just sex. Like that's
it's
an analogy for sex.
The sport is used as a metaphor or a vehicle to tell something.
Well, is table tennis
rather
used
than
as
the
a
story of the sports itself?
Yeah, is it a vehicle for, like you talked about? It's like a movie about rebirth and the process of birth, and like how people are born into their not only the world but like the situations they find themselves in. Like, is that indicative of you as a person? Like you're causing this yourself because of your narcissistic, ego-filled self. But you also have this drive that is so indicative of what makes sports movies so good sometimes, is that just like ego-driven drive is just like the core of so many of your favorite films.
That is so crazy. I definitely think of Challengers as a sports movie for some reason, but I don't consider. And this is funny because I feel like a lot of people consider this like one of the best sports movies. Like Harald, you said, I don't consider Moneyball as much of a sports movie. It's about sports, but it's not a sports movie. I don't know. Like it's a weird interpretations. Like it's about money or like
No, straight up.
No, I agree with you.
About
I don't think
capitalism.
Moneyball is really a sports movie either.
Yeah.
So maybe spicy take, but I don't really think any of these are sports movies. Like the sport, because the thing is, the sport is not the main point. It's like the main point is this metaphor, and the sport is used as a tool.
Exactly. It's like maybe the best sports movies aren't about sports at all.
Yeah,
it's true.
there
Like,
you
is
go.
Remember the Titans
Along
really
the way.
about football? Really? Like we could say Coach Carter, is that about basketball?
Coach Carter?
I'm gonna be honest though, guys. I don't really watch sports movies like that, so I don't have a good like. Now I'm thinking like, what's a sports movie I like? Would you consider
Bend
Space
It Like
Jam a sports
Beckham.
movie?
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely
Well,
a
'cause,
sports
like-
movie.
Because like
Then I would say that's a sports movie.
Because even like something like Creed is one of my 4 favorite movies, and like
yeah,
that
great
on the
point.
surface that is a sports movie, but it really is about. And it's my first Rocky movie, so I was like, I came into it with no expectations, but I think that's sort of like because Michael B. Jordan is like the son of a famous boxer, and he's like he can technically like coast by in his life because like he's so like set, but it feels like he says at one point in the movie like I just want to feel like I'm not a mistake. I like thought that was a very like interesting. He just wants to like make a name for himself, and like he kind of experiences like all this doubt, and also like Rocky is like someone who he feels like life has passed him by, like all of his friends have passed away, like what's my purpose type of thing. So I think they both have like these kind of arcs that they have to go through, and like boxing is just the way that they sort of like come together and like realize purpose type of thing. So I think that's why like Creed is like a 5-star movie to me. Yeah, because it's not really about the boxing. If it was just about the boxing, I would have gone right away and watched all the Rocky movies because there's just been like, people punching each other and stuff.
Well, like a Creed 3 feels more like a sports movie than Creed 1 just because there's so much importance on like the anime type like boxing scenes. I mean, I saw that with you and Brandon Jared in like the movie.
Yeah.
Like that was what I got out of like a Creed 3 versus like a Creed 1.
Well, I feel like some of the difference for me though is for that it's like the whole journey is encapsulated in the sport, if that makes sense. Versus like Marty Supreme is so much away from that I don't know if I can consider it a sports movie.
That's fair.
Honestly,
Honestly,
that's why I feel like
sense.
Challengers is a sports movie because the whole thing is surrounding the idea of playing tennis, like what tennis means to these people. And so I don't know, like it's such an interesting.
That one's borderline. I will give you that.
Yeah.
That's kind of borderline.
I will say the one thing that really does make it for Challengers for me is that one scene where they go to the Chili's, right? And then, Chris, you might have told me about this, but they go to the Chili's or whatever that American food chain is they go to because that's something tennis players do on the road. Like, it's a very realistic, like, they did the research.
Yeah, they did the homework.
They did the homework.
They got the D1 thing.
I mean,
and like
even
and the
Luca,
thing about the
even
sports
Luca said
movies,
that
right?
he didn't like approach it like a sports movie, I think, right? Like he's like, I don't know too much about tennis and all this, but like it's a good mechanism, it's a good driver for my story I wanted to tell.
And that's why I'm kind of like leaning on the fact that Marty Supreme is kind of still a sports movie because the sport itself is what was used as the way to be like, this is how we're ultimately hashing out our issues throughout the movie. And there's only really 2 table tennis scenes in the movie. And it's the beginning
and the
tournament and the end. But those are like one of the biggest. It's the inciting conflict and then the climax. And so in a way, I'm like, okay. And then it's and table tennis, like, and it's table tennis, and you see them kind of like going through the arcs of their movie throughout the rounds of table tennis. You know what I mean? And like that's how Challengers was. That ending. Match is like they're basically like getting out all of their frustrations through this tennis match. And so like I think in that way the tennis is the tying bow around the whole thing, the table tennis. So
I mean, hey,
that's how I'm kind of leaning it.
Even
I'm
though
leaning
this
towards
conversation, I'd even make an argument that this whole movie is a game of table tennis. Like, how many back and forths does this man go through in his entire life? I think that's one of the more simplistic approaches you could take to like how it's structured. But there's so many moments of highs and so many moments of the lowest of lows. Like, I would just wanted to. I'll use this as an opportunity to shout out Tyler. the entire scene with Tyler and like them going to hustle this entire backwood town like outside of New York, insane, and how it's like the highs of them winning and then them doing they're like ghost riding the whip in the 1950s, which is crazy. In New York of all places, and then they get to that gas station where they're just like tracked down because that's the low of the low. So it's just back and forth, the whole movie to me at least.
Great scene, by the way. Great scene. It's
Man,
a
shout
good
out
little
Tyler.
break of like throughout the chaos of the movie. I mean, it goes right back to the chaos, but I almost thought it was like a flashback at first. I was like,
Felt
"Whoa,
like
what's
it.
going on?"
I do want to take,
yeah.
I think we are kind of at the end where I want to ask you all for your scores and final thoughts on this movie. I think we all really liked in a lot of ways. Any other hoorahs you want to shout out to the just regular people in this movie? Because I mean, not Fran Drescher is not a regular person. She is a very accomplished actor in her own right. But you just have so many different people. We talked about Luke Manley. Haven't talked nearly enough about Tyler. I think Tyler's he's always been an artist and an actor in his own right. So I didn't think this was going to be too hard for him. But you talk about people like the guy with the golden voice, just random guys that they like found on YouTube, TikTok. And just like it's a very New York movie for that exact reason. Like, and you got to feel that the Safdie Chalamet connection gives you the most real. Like, I can believe that these guys were like, this is what New York was like in the 50s. I just know it is. Just 100%, no doubt.
It makes it way more authentic of having these people casted. I mean, like we said, I mean, Kevin O'Leary is literally just Kevin O'Leary in this movie.
Well, even Endo's played by a
even-
real life deaf table tennis player, right? Like someone who didn't even know who
And I didn't
Timothy
even
was
know that.
before this movie.
That is so cool.
Yeah.
That is so cool. And
He said
like,
he thought he was being scammed when
so
yeah.
It's like,
when he got the casting call.
When he got the call, like he thought it was a scam. Yeah.
I mean, I would too. Be like, hey, you want to be in a movie about table tennis?
yeah,
Timothée
sure.
Chalamet.
Sure,
Like,
buddy.
What? I know you've never acted before. But yeah, I mean, I think nobody has talked about Gwyneth Paltrow really, but I thought she did a great job in this movie as well.
Yeah.
And like she played that character of this kind of like aging actress that is like drawn to the ambition of Marty like so well. Like I feel like I bought that really well. And like I honestly think that they had really good chemistry, strangely enough.
They
They
really
did.
And I'm like, oh, this is weird.
It's wild.
But it's wild, but it was great. And like yeah, like it's such an interesting, like honestly I think one of the best casted movies of this past year in my opinion.
say
for
it.
sure.
I would agree with
Well,
that.
They say, well, the Oscars, this is the first year they're going to award a best casting.
Give it
Come on,
give it to them.
y'all know who to give it to now.
So, yeah.
I want to see
It's
Dion
either
up
this
there.
or
Let's see
one
Blue
battle
Girl.
after another for me. Like
Yeah.
Oh, really? Okay.
That was
I mean, I
also
thought the
really
casting
good.
was great in that.
It was so good.
Sean Penn,
yeah.
we need an Oscar nom for this guy.
Sean Penn definitely, yeah. But going back to this movie, like
Yes.
you're talking about Dion, like because he talked about how he was casted, and obviously he was found through the side talk, the whole like the Trae Young clip. But then once they called him and brought him in, the audition was not like act a scene. It was literally the casting director like talking, like interviewing him about like his life and like what he does and like sports and stuff. And she just wanted like him to just like talk. And I just thought that was interesting. And then there's like a little like improv thing he had to do with like Timothée Chalamet. And it was, I don't know if it was a sandwich, but it was basically like, hey, don't let Timmy like take your sandwich sort of thing. And then like the first time he does it, he lets Timmy take a sandwich. And like, they're like, no, that's not what you were supposed to do. And I was like, oh, I'm sorry. Like, you know, I couldn't help it type of thing. So it just kind of like, how does he embody like this guy and like, how's he going to, you know, how is like him as himself kind of like fit into this movie? I thought that was interesting, you know, as opposed to like giving them a script and like audition, like this is what we think the character should be. It's like, okay, like we brought you here for a reason type of thing.
Like, is
Just
this the
confirm
new
to us
meta
that
for
you are the
casting?
guy.
Like, is
I
this
hope
what's
it
going
is.
to
I
produce
hope
the
it
next
plays.
amount of bangers of where we're casting
Yeah.
real people
Yeah.
for their I know. I mean, we've seen this before, but like Euphoria, like a lot of the actors there were not previously trained actors. So yeah, I mean, just like that level of authenticity, I feel like maybe it's something that we're craving, or it's like of a new like sign of our generation or something. But I think it's great. Like that's so cool.
Because it's like a blend of like realism and like authentic performances, but also like you can do like the Leo like point meme. You're like, you know, some people recognize other people. Because
Mhm.
I one guy I recognized because you guys recognize the golden voice guy in the ping pong thing. I recognize George Gervin. George Gervin is a Hall of Fame basketball player. He was the other guy in the training facility. I was like, wow, the finger roll guy. So like, you know, he was a Hall of Famer for the Spurs. Played with the Bulls for a little bit. But yeah, I was just like, wow, I was not expecting to see George Gervin in there. And I think that's kind of like the Safdies' connection to basketball too. Because they, you know, Kevin Garnett is the main character in Uncut Gems. Right. They made a documentary about this guy named Lenny Cook, who basically was like the #1 high school prospect around when LeBron was coming up. But then and it kind of connects a little bit to, now that I think about it, to Marty Supreme, because Lenny Cook was like this #1 prospect, but then he goes up against LeBron. LeBron just like destroys him. And then Lenny Cook basically goes on like a gradual decline, and like his life is so set around basketball. And after that, it's just like a total like decline, basically. Like the Safdies kind of track him down and find him just like in a home that he's living in with the rest of his family. And I think they sort of like the sports stories and like the ways that like sports can go right and wrong, I think is a big like through line in like all of their movies. Because even like Kevin Garnett, that whole plot is like, you know, it's about the gem, you know, that, you know, the Uncut Gems. I won't go into it too much because Raul, you haven't seen it. But
gotta watch
yeah,
that.
it's
That
you
is
know,
so
Hey,
good.
it's happening
It's so
on Friday.
good.
Come through. It's happening on Friday.
Why
Yes,
the fuck would
exactly.
you show me something if I couldn't have it?
yeah,
Oh,
it's great. So yeah, I won't go into it too much here, but again, like that obsession with sports and like what it can do to people and like how it affects people's lives is like a big thing for the Safdies, I think.
Mhm. I will say, Harald, if you haven't seen Uncut Gems and you thought the sperm intro was crazy for this movie, just you wait, buddy.
Yeah.
That's what-
Just you
That's what
wait.
Kiko was saying too yesterday. Yeah, anyone
yep.
come through on Friday. We're watching it Friday night. It's happening. Oh my god. But oh my god. Jared, go ahead.
no, I mean,
Last
like,
thought.
I was just gonna say that last thought, like the sports thing. I mean, another shout out to the other Safdie brother who directed the Smashing Machine, that released earlier that year.
Mhm.
I haven't seen it, but that sports connection, it just got me thinking about that. And
They love their
I'm
sports.
curious if anyone else has seen that, because I'd love to hear any comparisons. But it's definitely on my list.
Have anyone seen the Smashing Machine? I have not.
All right.
Jared Mack is the only person I know that has seen it, and he thought it was kind of drab.
That's what I've heard,
in
but I
comparison.
really want to see it for myself.
But The Rock
I'm a
goes kind of
huge-
wild. Goes kind of crazy with it.
That is like one of the biggest reasons why I do want to watch it. For that reason, seeing The Rock in an interesting role, but also I'm just a big UFC fan,
There you go.
so it was just like
Well, I'd watch anything
Martin.
too that Benny Safdie like directs.
Yeah.
I mean, it's not like even like it just being kind of a weird-ish like kind of split, because they're doing different things now. I'm looking forward to seeing Benny and all of his acting roles coming up. But you can obviously see where a lot of the direction between, especially what I've been told with Uncut Gems, is probably coming a bit more from the Josh Safdie side of things. So there's really no hate. It's just kind of like they're an incredible combo, and now they're doing their own thing, and one of them's going to be in the Odyssey. So what are you going to do? They're both winning big time. They're dreaming big for sure.
big time.
But yeah, really shout out all of these real life people. I think you've got 4 people right here, Josh, that you want to cast in your upcoming pickleball epic. We'll film in Bainbridge Island. We were playing pickleball yesterday. I could see that happening. I could see a pickleball epic happening. Give me Zendaya and Robert Pattinson,
Rock.
just like that one wedding
Hey.
movie they're about to be in. The Rock.
Dream
Yeah.
big, Harald.
Dream
big.
Why not? Let's cast it in. But I'm gonna throw it over. I think we're gonna bring this episode to an end with Schwep. You're not dreaming big enough. Devon Holze, Chalamet fan 97. Get us started with your score rating, because I know you kind of teased at the top that it might have changed. We're gonna see what direction. And any final thoughts you
did.
got on this movie?
Honestly, this whole conversation just reaffirmed for me that I want to change my score. Originally, I gave it 4.5 ping pong balls out of 5 ping pong balls, but I'm going to go all the way up to 5.
5.
I'm going to go all the way up to
That's a
5.
5.
It can generate this much discussion. The acting was phenomenal, creative casting, original, just everything about it. 5 stars.
Let's go. Love that. Jared Garalde.
Man, I'm in the same boat. Well, this conversation was so insightful, and I feel like I appreciate the movie so much more. My original rating was 4 stars on my Letterboxd review. I think I'm gonna keep it at 4 stars, maybe, but I'm leaving that because I want to see it again, and I want to see it with this new fresh lens and fresh pair of eyes, and but I think again, like, no movie has in a while has made me feel the way that this movie makes me feel. So, and I think that's some of the highest praise I can give a movie in that way. So, yeah, such a great experience, Timmy. Gotta give
Did
it
it
to
again.
Timmy.
You that man. What?
But four for now. But hopefully, I think it'll improve.
Fire. Well, I know someone that also has changed his review over time, and yeah, let's talk about it, Chris. Where do you start, and where are you now?
Yeah, so the first time when I watched it, I gave it a 3.5 because I was kind of shocked, like, at the movie that it was. Again, because I think without the context of the marketing, without actually having a chance to discuss it with literally anyone, because Haley, who I saw it with, we were just kind of like, what was that? Like, what did we just watch? And then, like, you get that month of marketing with context, that what's in the movie, and then you get to see it, and then again, we get to talk about it. I just have, like, much more of an appreciation of, like, all the complex things and, like, themes and threads that are going on through the movie. So, I started with 3.5. Second watch, I gave it 4.5. And I think I'm probably in the same boat as Jared, as, like, I want to leave some room to where if I'm definitely going to watch it a third time, probably a fourth time, who knows. I'm going to try to give myself room to give it a 5, so for now I'm going to go 4.5, but in the near future, you could see it get the full 5. So that's where I'm at.
I love a movie that's like got 1 5 and then 2 maybe 5s. But I'm gonna sit where I was from the very beginning of seeing this movie. 4.5 out of 5 Schweppes for your boy. I really think there's something about this where I'm not going to say anything specifically about the film. We've talked about it for 90 minutes now. All those thoughts I agree with and I echo pretty much wholeheartedly. There's this feeling with Timmy where I'm like, I want to fight for this man because he is our champion. He is our Gen Z weird, like, end of zillennial champion. Like, he is the guy of the moment.
The last,
like,
actor.
The last actor. No, they don't exist anymore. They're done.
They don't have superstar actors anymore.
He's the only one. Leo? But truly, one of those guys that, like you're saying, Dev, you started off as kind of like a Chalamet, like, why is he feeling this? I feel like if Dune Part 2 didn't do it for me, it was Marty Supreme, and I know this guy knows. Like, you can tell he genuinely is a kid who grew up going to LaGuardia. Like, he watched the same YouTubers we watched. Like, he just ended up becoming a brilliant actor, and I'm sure there's aspects of this. Look, he's still dating a Jenner. He's one of the biggest men in Hollywood right now. I hope he keeps it up. I'm rooting for him. But there is something about him that intrinsically wants me to tell me, like, my soul, that I should be on this guy's side. And I'm not normally one to be like, I love this actor, I love that actor. Like, there's a few people I will go to the movies to see. But I'm now happy to say that for a younger generation, like, Timmy is probably that guy. So a really strong 4.5 out of 5. I will never forget the tub scene for the rest of my life. Literally never. Just screaming at the top of my lungs.
What was Timothy's YouTube channel name for his modded? It was like Xbox Controller 360 or something like that.
Yeah.
He had like the
modded controller something.
He was in the Modern Warfare lobbies. I could see him. I don't want to know what he said, 100%. But
that's the thing I love about Timmy, and like he's a theater kid through and through. Yeah. You could tell. That's why I was like not 100% buying like this marketing. Like, I was like, that's not you, is it? That's not really you, is it? Like, maybe
Little Timmy Tim. Don't forget Little Timmy Tim.
Exactly.
But even that's how I felt with like Corn Sweat when he was coming through. But even he's a little older than Chalamet is, right? Like, when he's coming up as Superman, I'm like, okay, this can be my Superman is David Corn Sweat, like, even more than Henry Cavill. But like, hey, Timothée Chalamet, find your way into the DC universe. That would be crazy. Give him the Joker. That would be nuts. I'll do it right now. I'll say it. Come back to this. DCU Joker. Gotta be Timmy Chalamet. I could see it happening. Anyways, maybe this is a good. I just want just one last thing before we get out of here. 2026 hype reel. We got a lot of stuff coming up. I just wanted to say I'm really excited for Dune Part 3 and Avengers, but a lot of stuff in between. Especially that Hunger Games movie, Kiko. That was looking tasty. I'm looking forward to that Hunger Games game or Hunger Games movie.
Hunger Games, Sunrise
Jesse
on the
Plemons as a young
president.
PTA.
Talk about casting.
Yeah. Casting, amazing. Yeah. Amazing casting, by the way.
Elle Fanning, 10 out of 10 for young Effie.
Love it.
Love it. Hunger Games. Yeah, that's a good call out.
It's crazy because like the trailer came out a full year before the movie's coming out, and like the trailer looks really good. Like, it was like very like a stylish trailer too, and it was like, okay, like Got Ray Fiennes as President Snow. You got
Ooh,
like again, like Jesse
they
Plemons.
got.
You know.
I mean,
Kieran
they're
Culkin's in
pushing
the
hard
movie.
with,
He's
like,
not
they
even
got
in the
stacked
trailer, but
cast.
Kieran Culkin's in the movie.
Yep.
Defending Oscar supporting actor.
Who knew in the big year of 2026 that we'd be getting a stacked cast in this Hunger? Oh, I mean, to be honest, the original
All the Hunger Games movies.
Seriously.
What?
Well, even
And
the
I also-
even the other prequel that was also a really good cast, in my opinion.
The prequel, like
seriously.
that movie really surprised me. I didn't like the second half, but I was really into the first half of Songbird and Snakes.
Songbird and
I was like,
Snake,
wow,
Yeah.
okay.
I mean,
this
we
is-
have Philip Seymour Hoffman, and I also said PTA earlier. I meant to say Philip Seymour Hoffman.
No, but it's
like,
it's incredible.
man, like,
it's incredible. It's
Mahershala
inspired
Ali
casting.
as Boggs. What is going on? Like,
Seriously.
oh. Anyways,
We're leaving
Hunger Games
things like
hype.
Jurassic World Rebirth in the past, and we're looking forward to the stacked year of our movie gods.
Werewolf.
Yes,
Robert
Dev.
Eggers Werewolf.
Werewolf.
Were-
That's what
were
I
the
was gonna
werewolves.
say. Yeah, Chris, you get me. You understand. I'm a spooky girl. I've been waiting for
Yes.
that one.
So excited. This year is
I'm
Bring me back
glad
on the
that
pod
Robert Eggers
for
is
Werewolf, please.
sticking
Oh, for
to
sure.
his guns and like adapting all of like these old school horrors, and like I love it. I mean,
no,
I was
seriously.
hoping Ari Aster would stick on the
Mm-hmm.
on the horror train. I get it, but
Mm-hmm.
Robert
I'm
Eggers
also
got
ready
the sauce,
for Lily Rose Depp. I'm ready to see her round
Yes.
2. She impressed me a lot in Nosferatu, so I'm ready to see her again.
Also, I'm
insane
sorry.
performance.
We're getting that Resident Evil movie directed by the guy who directed
Yo.
Weapons, like from Whitest Kids, Like
Yes.
that's something for the real ones out there. We have not like we need a good Res Evil movie, and he's gonna be the guy that gives it to us. There's so much. We got Super Mario.
I mean,
Super
we gotta
Mario
ride
Galaxy.
the video game
28
hype
years
train,
later.
baby.
20. Are you
Part
gonna go
two?
see it? Are you gonna
Yes.
see it? I haven't even
Of
seen the first one.
course.
I haven't seen any of them.
I haven't seen any of
Watch
them.
it.
I don't know how I'm the
Oh
host.
my!
I don't know how
The
we have
first-
a movie podcast. I mean, you see how many dots I have unfilled on this list. This is.
I'm
here
going to
for the
say it
vibes.
right now. This is how I want to end my commentary on this podcast. The first movie, 28 Days Later, one of I will say the best zombie movie of all time.
All right, we gotta see it.
Mm.
Because it's about
Okay.
I
it's
can
about
see that.
people and human nature. It's so good.
And it's also shot on VHS tape, right? They got all of that London Bridge, like at the beginning of dawn, before anyone was walking out there, make it look real zombie. I've seen hey, Cillian
Honestly,
Murphy, come on.
You should like back to back those movies. Just back to back them. You can kind of skip the second
Can
one,
we
but
skip
back to back
20
the rest of them.
Can we skip the weeks later one? Because I've heard that one is not even that has nothing to do with I mean, it does, but it's not. Nah.
They're all really good, honestly. I'm not gonna
Mhm.
lie, but
Hey, it's looking freaky though. It's
Ugh.
looking like they get into freaky zones with these zombies. So I'm down. I'm
Yeah.
down. To
I
see
saw
what's
so
going on.
many
hold on.
penises I didn't need to see.
Greta Gerwig Narnia is also supposed to come out this year,
Shut
which
up.
is crazy.
No, she is not doing a Narnia movie.
I
What is-
forgot.
Yeah, Greta Gerwig Narnia.
That's a perfect way to end
Magician's
this.
Nephew.
There you
It's
go.
crazy.
That's a Timothée Chalamet
So
wraparound.
that's
like
gonna
Greta
be
Gerwig.
wild.
Shout out. I mean, we'll receive it for
And-
any Gerwig movie. Come on.
and the Social Network sequel starring
Social
our
Reckoning?
boy. Yeah. Oh my gosh, that's gonna be crazy.
Jeremy
He
Allen
did an
White.
interview. Mark Zuckerberg. Oh my gosh, I don't know why I'm forgetting his name.
Jesse
Evans.
Eisenberg.
Adam
No,
Scott?
he-
Who are you talking about?
no.
Wait,
Somebody
no.
else is playing.
Andrew
Mark
Garfield?
Zuckerberg. No.
Jeremy Strong?
Jeremy Strong.
Succession.
Jeremy
Strong
Strong.
Succession.
hell yeah.
is
Succession.
Jeremy Strong is playing Mark Zuckerberg, and he did an interview recently where he was like kind of in character, and I'm like, whoa, like this is kind of weirdly uncanny. He's gonna kill it, and I'm really excited because honestly, the original Social Network is one of my favorite movies.
Never
So
seen
I'm,
it.
I'm excited to see.
Yeah, see, Harald, you gotta
never
get on
seen
you've
that.
never seen it.
Gerald.
It's on this
You
list.
gotta get on that one.
It's on the
I
top
mean, the
100
story,
movies.
the whole like separating it from Facebook aside, it's just such a good like. The dialogue in that movie is amazing. Yeah, put it on the list.
I'm putting it on
Speaking
the list.
of David Fincher, the sequel to Once Upon a Time in Hollywood is being
Oh my-
directed by
By
David, Fincher.
Fincher? What?
So
Yeah.
wild.
The Adventures of Cliff Booth.
Jesus.
Yeah.
That's
That is going to
insane.
be such an intro because that's not
Thanks,
typically the
Tarantino,
style I
like,
would
That's crazy.
attribute to Fincher. So,
Yeah.
oh yeah, what a year! What a year!
All I know,
Moana live action,
seriously,
Moana live action.
Supergirl,
Supergirl,
Toy Story 4,
Clayface
5.
Clayface, Mandalorian and Grogu.
is insane. All I know,
Hokum Adam Scott horror movie.
bang.
Project Hail
Man,
Mary.
What a year!
Project Hail Mary. I don't even want to get talking about the shows. Happy Jujutsu Kaisen week. we're being blessed this week. We're being blessed this year. So I will say, for the sake of Jonas's editing hands, this has been another episode of Pinoys versus the World. We're excited for 2026. I'm sure we'll have these wonderful humans on our next pod. Many throughout the year. Tap in, subscribe, like, all that good things to the Pinoys versus channels. Unless anyone's got anything, you got anything for the people, Chris? For the people?
I don't. I think we've covered so much, honestly.
We've covered a
this
lot.
time. Let's get it going.
This has been a great way to start 2026, y'all. And I'm happy that we got to spend it with you two on as guests. So thank you, Devon Holze and Jared Garalde. Follow them on Letterboxd. As always, this episode's been produced by Jonas Hyllseth. Very long one to start the year, so we shout him out every time we can. And yeah, I'll say my name is Harald Hyllseth. We'll go over to you, Dev.
My name's Devon Holze.
I'm Jared Garalde.
My name is Chris Angkico.
And we will talk with you all in the next episode of Pinoys versus the World. Happy New Year. Peace.